Hello, welcome to today's Mental Wellness Show. I'm your host, Mark Weisenberger. Hey, it's been a really long time since I've been on Facebook Live. So today is a little bit of an experiment for me just to work out the new software, the BeLive software, as well as to get myself climatized. But today I do want to touch on a very important subject. My wife sent me an article the other day from the Mayo Clinic where they had taken and studied the microbiome and diabetes. Now you might be saying, hey, today's mental wellness show, what does that have to do with diabetes? And maybe you're familiar with the microbiome and maybe you're not. So that's what we're here to discuss. The reason that I'm talking about diabetes on the Mental Wellness Show is twofold. One is the microbiome, which we'll get into in just a little bit. But secondly, my wife was diagnosed last year with diabetes. And what do you think that does to an individual's mental wellness state, as well as that of those that love her or love someone with that? Now, I'm going to bring her onto the show one day and let her share her whole story. It has an amazingly happy ending from something that was very tragic. But anyway, let's get into what is the microbiome. The microbiome is basically your gut, the bacteria in your gut. And throughout our lives, depending upon our diets, the antibiotics which we've taken, the sodas we've drinking, just a lot of different aspects that go into the microbiome and getting that to function appropriately. And we're not going to get into all sciencey. And like I say, today is just kind of a test. And so I'm going to be looking around just a little bit and see what's going on. But I just want to do this test, but we're not going to get into the science of it. But basically for today's session or show, the microbiome is the bacteria in your gut and intestines. And as we all know, when we take an antibiotic, that kills some of the bacteria. The doctors say, hey, go eat some yogurt and sauerkraut, things like that, to replenish the bacteria that we have killed from the antibiotic. Now, the trick is based upon new science or complements of new technology in science and in the computing world, we learn that there are literally hundreds, maybe thousands of different strains of bacteria in our gut. And so if we go eat a yogurt, bam, maybe we just have one or two things that, we replenish some of them, but we don't know exactly what we've killed off and what we've done. So we need to be aware of that. So, but with that in mind, coming back to the Mayo Clinic and diabetes, is that they have done research and found out that based upon an individual's microbiome depends on the food that individual can eat, causing the sugar spike or not. For example, based upon what's in your microbiome as opposed to my microbiome, and I believe and interpreted it depending upon our environment, the antibiotics, the things we've eaten, the things we've done to adjust or readjust our microbiome, depends or makes you and I sensitive to different foods. So you and I could eat the exact same food, and I could have a huge, massive sugar spike. and you may just have a small sugar spike. And if you're familiar with diabetes at all, you know that it's all about sugar and how much sugar you have in your body, in your system, and whatever. And they always tell you to cut your carbs to help control that. Now, that's not a real story because we were told a different story when we went to the nutritionist, but in reality, you cut carbs. So anyway, what the Mayo Clinic found out in their science is maybe you could eat a piece of whole wheat toast and have a completely different effect than I would, just again, based upon the microbiome. And so I just wanted to put that out there just to let you think about that, let you know what's going on. Now, I've been introduced to a company called Amare Global out of California. And they actually have been working with the microbiome and how that deals with the mental wellness aspect. And so let's just touch on that just a little bit and then we'll call it good. But there's what's called the gut-brain axis. In other words, it's your gut, your brain, and then the axis in between, which is nerves and neuroreceptors and things like that. And with the recent discoveries of the microbiome and being able to discover exactly what bacteria is in an individual gut or whatever, they have learned that that a lot of the serotonin, dopamine, all those happy hormones that are released that they've always classified as in your head, the majority of those are actually being created inside your gut. And depending upon your microbiome, it can depend upon how many of those serotonins and dopamine and happy hormones are actually being produced. So through their study, they've come out with some products, and we'll talk about later. We're not going to get into products today, but just again, to get you thinking. But by balancing the microbiome and by nourishing the axis as well as the brain, they've had amazing results in helping individuals become happier, have more joy, be less angry. And again, we'll get into the specifics on that later. But they've also discovered, as that has happened, there's been physical benefits as well, not just mental. For example, I've been on their flagship product, the Fundamentals, for about 2.5 months now, and I'm not as angry, I'm not as stressed, I'm not suffering from depression. When you go through things, it's not that it eliminates it, stress and anger and depression, but it helps you as an individual cope better because your body is balanced. But so I'm happier. I have more joy in my life. I'm more alert. I'm more awake during the day. I don't get as tired at the end of the day. I work longer. That may be a pro, maybe a con, but I can work longer now because of that. But on the physical side, I've had a lot of amazing results. And they kind of touched on this as well in that article from the Mayo Clinic. It talked about, well, what about joints? And how does the microbiome affect the joints? Well, for me personally, I was not very flexible before I started this. And I would actually have to, and this may be TMI, but I'd have to hold on to the dresser as I'd put my pants on in the morning because I could not bend over far enough without falling over to pull my pants on my legs. And now I can stand in the middle of the room, put my pants on without any problem. I personally sleep deeper, which is part of mental wellness, but it's also a physical thing as well. So I sleep deeper, I sleep longer. I had back pain, and my back pain is like 90 95% gone. I used to wake up with shoulder pain and hip pain. That is like 95% gone. So those are some of the mental wellness as well as the physical benefits I've received from taking the Amare fundamental products. So if you have any questions, leave those below. Also share with me, what do you do to increase your joy and happiness? What is your mental wellness state? And if you'd like to learn more about this new science with the microbiome, the gut-brain axis, go to news2know.com. So just news, N-E-W-S, 2-T-O, no, K-N-O-W.com. And you can get access to about a 40-minute video from Dr. Sean Talbot that is talking about the new science that's coming out and what Amare Global is doing with that new science to help you in your mental wellness. So until next time, have a great mental wellness day.